My name is Sulin Chen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of My Exit Strategy. And we are dedicated to helping you reflect on what you would want at end of life and communicate those preferences to your loved ones. So we obviously all know this. So it's actually pretty surprising that not only do we not really like to think about this, but we certainly, for the most part, don't really plan for it. And obviously there's lots of reasons, but I think most of us think that we'll plan for end of life someday, but we put it off and we kind of feel like it's not that urgent, and it certainly doesn't seem like something that would be fun or pleasurable to do. It's hard enough for us to think about our own mortality and let alone navigate this very complex landscape of end of life planning, parse the legalese, hire a lawyer, make all these decisions. It's really overwhelming. So My Exit Strategy completely transforms how we plan for end of life. We really focus on the human aspects, and we make it really intuitive and celebrate the individual. And we encourage everyone to be really creative with their plans and allow our users to be inspired by other users. So if you think about this timeline of your life, the x-axis is time. So obviously your life is finite. And so we're all pretty good at thinking about what would we want to do next week, next month, next 5 years. And I think what's a lot harder for us is to think about what's the last third of life like? What's that last day like? What is it going to be like after that? So I think what we're trying to do is really shine a light on this part of life. And there's obviously lots of benefits to this. I mean, one obvious one is you never know what could happen, and so it really gives you peace of mind to know that you've thought about this. Another one that's maybe a little bit less obvious, but we think is equally, if not more important, is by thinking about what you would want at end of life, it actually surfaces your values. And it actually really helps you live more mindfully with intention and really, live congruently with the person that you think you are. And of course, the people who care about you, their lives, for some of them, will go on after you're gone. And you actually have the power to make that transition a lot easier for them. You can answer questions on our website, and every single question that you answer is one less question that your loved ones won't have to guess at for you. And you can also get really creative about it. You can give them ways to remember you and celebrate your life, like your signature recipe or a book that you love or a place where they can go visit and think of you. So before I go to the demo, just to summarize our mission, we really want to be a destination for all things end of life, and we really believe that by reflecting on what you would want at end of life, it's obviously really nice to do that for your loved ones, but also it really helps you live mindfully and with intention. So I'm going to go to the demo. Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so you guys can go, don't do it now because I'm talking, but on your way home on your phones, or when you get home, you can go to myexitstrategy.co and you get started. So we have 5 questions on right now, and you can start right away. We have hundreds more that we've crowdsourced that will roll out in the near future. And you can basically, enter in this blank anything that you want, or you can look at these seed answers and choose something that resonates with you. And there's lots of examples. And done, and then you can, go to the next question. So it's really chill. You can skip things, just really kind of create a space for just reflection and provoking thought. And so then you just save your answers, creating an account like any other online profile that you have. And we really intend for this to be a living, breathing profile. We expect that your answers may change as you evolve. And that's kind of the benefit to this. We envision you on the bus and you hear a song and you're like, oh my gosh, that should be in my funeral, or you eat some sushi and you're like, ooh, I love sushi. And you can put it in your profile. And then the other really important part of our service is that, when you have end-of-life wishes, obviously you kind of should tell at least one other person in order for them to be carried out. And so you can give a key to your profile to any number of key holders, and these people will have access to your profile and can see your answers. And yeah, so we actually just launched this version last week. We welcome your feedback, and thank you so much for having me. Question.
What does the future look Is there going to be a revenue model at all for the site?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a freemium model, but obviously when you're in this mind space of planning, you can imagine that there's lots of transactions that fall out of that. So we've already been talking to a lot of strategic partners in the insurance industry, financial planning, estate lawyers, things like that. And they're very excited about what we're doing because it provides, it's a great entry point to starting to get in that mind space of having perspective, right? And not being in the kind of autopilot that we're in all the time. So in order to kind of do this sort of future visioning, you kind of have to work a little bit at it. So,
what is your age group that you're targeting? I'm obviously young and wouldn't know this, but do parents at the age of 40, 50, or is it more grandparents or elderly? Or?
Yeah, so you might be sitting here thinking, this is not for me because I'm young. But actually, we believe that it's never too early to start because just write a few things down. And actually, because of what I said before, when we go, it's so easy because we're human. And you get up, go to work, come back, and you're kind of just in your day-to-day life. And to kind of zoom out and get that perspective is so valuable. You hear a lot of anecdotes about people who've had near-death experiences, and they kind of talk about this focus that they have afterwards about, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I need to be doing with my time. And so we're trying to get to that state without a trauma. So we don't see it necessarily as an age-based use case.
I would just expect the older you get, the more like you're going to be thinking about this.
So it's a really, so Peter was just saying that he thinks that the older you get, the more interested you would be. And actually we've done some surveys and some research, and it doesn't actually seem to be that the case. And there's a very interesting thing that's happened. I don't know, you guys have probably actually noticed in social media, there's actually an increased amount of conversation about loss, and people post about people. And what we've found is actually even younger people, 20s, in their 20s, are even more okay with kind of thinking about this stuff. I think I was talking to some people before. I have some theories, but based on nothing. But basically, I think there's a facility with the documentary process of life when you've grown up with social media. And I think also, you see celebrities now posting about, their parent's death or someone close to them. And I think that increased conversation, people realize that it's okay to think about. And I think there's a real hunger to actually think about those things.
What are your plans to generate demand and trial?
So you kind of demand being like, how will people find out about this? Yeah, so there's actually a lot of great organizations out there around getting people to think about end of life. So there's the Conversation Project, Death Over Dinner, Death Cafes, and we're really, I know, there's people out there who are totally ready to think about this. So we're starting by kind of working with them. We're already partnering with some of these organizations to get, I think our power users are people who are really already excited and wanting this type of product to exist. That's where we're going to start. I think.
There's a lot of chatter about what happens to your social media accounts when you pass away. Are you working in that space? There are legal issues and other ramifications.
So he was asking about social media and what happens after that. So we were really a portal to all these other end-of-life services. So you're not going to be writing a legal will on our site, and you're also not necessarily going to be having your super password stored on our site necessarily. But what we're going to do, there's actually a lot of startups that are kind of dealing with that. It's complicated because their service providers are changing their policies all the time on this. And so, but we would be a place where you can go and learn about what your options actually are. And you can even do something so simple as to compose your final tweet, because you might not want it to be, the embarrassing thing that so you could, there's so much that you could do. And, because a lot of things on the internet really do live for a long time.
Last question.
Okay, last question, sorry.
Can you talk about a little bit about the company? How did you come up with the idea, your background?
Yeah, sure. So my this is the origin story. So I know I don't have too much time. So long story short, I decided that I really wanted a dance party funeral, and I wasn't married at the time, and I didn't know how to convey that to anyone, and I thought I could send my brother an email, and that seemed really awkward. So I thought that I could there must be a service that you can store your preferences in the cloud, share them, and so it didn't exist. So that's why I built it. My background is in healthcare. Actually, I have a PhD from MIT in material science and engineering. I was doing cancer imaging research, and then I was working as a strategic advisor to early stage life science companies. But I think that really did inform this a lot because I learned very early on that more care is not always better. And so, I mean, those are some of the types of preferences that I think people need to express, because it's not a decision that someone else can make for you. Just like you can't decide for someone else, oh, I want the low-end coffin. You know, they have to say, I don't care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.